Hi, everybody. This is Maurice. Thank you for joining this course. I'm excited about having you here. And this course is about creating employee morale without money. What I mean by that is without money up front. Everyone says, well, I just hate my job because, and of course, everyone says it's money. Well, they left because it's money. Everything's money. We need to challenge that. There's enough data out there that shows that's just not the case. People aren't leaving companies for money. That is a significant portion of it. So where does it fit? We're going to dive into that. So in this course, we have 4 good modules that emphasize how to properly understand the issue of money, but then the many things that we're not doing because we're just throwing money at it, instead of doing the things that indeed change and impact and create a great morale culture. So the first module is the impact of the supervisors, 12 habits. Then we're going to discuss one major bad habit that all leaders have to be careful of because it is the one that drains all the energy out of everything that we do. And then finally, we're going to end up with where to get started. Thank you for joining us again. Let's get started.
Whenever we talk about improving employee morale without money, definitely let's talk about it in those terms, because I really think that is where it starts. Improving morale has to be done without the concept of money being in the equation up front. It is part of the equation, but it's not the driving force. What I want to point to you is to these 2 books. First one is First Break All the Rules, written by Marcus Buckingham. Game changing, industry changing. It's one of those books where it gets quoted a lot, and yet the title hasn't gone viral. But if you look at Inc. magazine, Forbes, they refer back to this study. And this book came out in the late 90s, so it's had a lot of stability. Even up to about 3 weeks ago, I got another one. It said how to improve, and you read it, there they are, there it is. I mean, it's incredible what they did. So if you see the cover of it, it's based on an interview by Gallup organization of over 80,000 managers in over 400 companies, the largest study of its kind ever undertaken. So Jim Clifton and Jim Harder, again, from the Gallup organization in 2018-19, they published this book called It's the Manager. I love the title. And in one of the appendices, they list out the study from Marcus Buckingham's book, saying this is still valid. These are the guys that dictate, that influence the industry of employee development. There's no better and bigger organization than the Gallup organization. They're the leaders of workforce development. Marcus Buckingham says if you're losing good people, look to the immediate supervisor. More than any other single reason is the reason people stay and thrive in an organization. And he or she is the reason why they quit, taking their knowledge, contacts, and experience with them, often straight to the competition. So when I first came to this organization that I told you about in 2003, what was the turnover rate? I told you it was somewhere between what? Let's just say 60%. That's high. Okay, so then I asked, in the last 5 years, where have you been losing most people? HR didn't have an answer. No one was tracking it. I'm tracking to where? Where does it land on the org chart? So why is HOMA losing 12 employees in the last 5 years? What's going on? You see, but no one's asking that question. So my assumption is, what's wrong with that manager at that branch office? And everybody told me, nothing, she's fantastic. I'm like, okay. What are sales like? Some of the best. I looked at all the sales, sure enough, by company standards. And I can see why everybody felt she was wonderful, because she really was a very well-rounded individual. Professionally, skill set, knew how to develop her office, but yet she's got 5 seats in that office, but one of them keeps churning over. They loved her. All the other 4 loved her. So I spent a whole weekend with them. That 5th seat is the one that was constantly turning over. It was a female industry. I mean, 9 out of 10 of the employees were female, so that wasn't the issue. Black, white, that wasn't the issue either. So, I told her why I was there. Well, I'll make a long story very short. Come to find out that the way in which they're running their office was extremely successful for 4 people.
Good old girl that worked.
They weren't going to allow that office to grow to 5. And they did everything possible to make it miserable for that. All individuals, all employees in that office had an unwritten, because that office had been growing from 3 to 4 now to 5, and someone got it in their head, we're gonna limit it at 4, because they were making insurance, and they were making lots of money. I can see why those 4 gals and the manager did not want that fifth seat. Why? Because there was going to be a period in which you have to share the commissions. Yeah, but they weren't long-term thinking that, look, after 8 months, you guys are all going to be making, exactly. But you see, the thing about it is, I'm going to come back to these questions, but yet no one was managing it. No one was tracking it. You see what I'm saying? No one said, well, let's go talk to her and let her know someone is tracking it, someone is managing, and someone's asking the hard questions. And after 2 months of that happening, I decided I'm going to go spend the week over there with her, with that regional manager. Judy, come on. Judy, when was the last time you sat in Homa and watched what was happening? No. So who's the problem? The branch manager or Judy? You see the problem? Yeah. Is it branch manager who's gotten away with this? Is it the 4 employees that are in cahoots with this? Or is it my regional manager who was cognizant of what was going on, but wasn't going to dive in? But whose leadership? It wasn't the branch manager. It was Judy. Judy oversaw 10 offices. See, go to your org chart. Judy's one of these, and she's got 10 offices below her. Right, because see, whenever I should not, she say it. I should not have stepped in. Judy knew all this, because when we went and met with him after the second day, Judy and I go to dinner, and I go, Judy, were you aware of all this? And she goes, yeah. And I said, what? Why weren't you? And I heard all the reasons. Well, I've been telling Greg, and I brought it up, and I did this, and I did that, and I this. Is okay, so Judy, let me ask you this. What's the difference between how you're handling it and how I'm handling it? Her answer was gracious. Well, you're serious about this. I said, there you go. Now, do you think I got branch manager's attention? She says, oh yeah, she's already called me. I said, why aren't you putting that kind of pressure? Because if we don't fix this issue, you're getting written up. Yes, right, but it was at her own detriment. So once you start going through your chain of command and you hold people about it and you find out what's going on, well then, if you're not measuring it, you're not managing it. And if you're not managing it, you're not changing the behavior. If you're not measuring, you're not managing. If you're not measuring, you're not going to see a change of behavior. Judy got the notion. Maurice is now going to meet with me every month to check every office, and he's going to make sure that I'm visiting every office. You see what I'm saying? You have to set that routine, that expectation of accountability. Otherwise, people will get away with murder. And I bet you anything, when people are getting away with murder, the people next to them and the people above them knew about it. And the problem is you're not addressing neither the symptom of the problem nor the cause of the problem. And so what this basically says is you have to look to the immediate supervisor. You have to ask the tough questions. So here's something they'll never probably teach you in business school. Here's a great quote from this article. The single biggest decision you make in your job, bigger than all the rest, is who you name as the manager, the supervisor. When you name the wrong person, nothing fixes a bad decision. Not compensation, not benefits, nothing. And then we throw money at it thinking, no, the only way you fix morale is having a good supervisor managing the team. There's no replacement. People get hired in companies because of the company. They stay in the company because of their immediate supervisor and the relationships they have with their peers. Make sense? Nobody ever quits the company because of the company. If I was working for Julio, I hate working for Julio. If you could say, Julio, and you're one at the Frontliners, it wasn't Julio. It was who? It was that supervisor that Julio put over you. Okay? So you have, in order to deal with this issue of morale, you have to look at the root cause. And what is the management style and what is the focus of every one of those supervisors? And are they focusing on the right thing?
So what are those right things that we should be doing? Jump into the next module. Let's dive into it next. Thanks for finishing this segment. See you at the next one.